Members, moving on to the next bill on our agenda. It's Assembly Bill 224, which provides for the issuance of bonds to assist certain school districts in financing capital improvements. And we'll invite Assemblymember Mosca to the table. Good morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you today, Chair and Committee. So thank you, Chair and Committee. I'm Erica Mosca, representing Assembly District 14 in East Las Vegas. You may have wondered why I have chosen to work on this legislation for the last year and a half, and I'm very proud to present it here in the Fiscal Committee. It's because when I visited all districts throughout our state, places like Ely remind me of East Las Vegas. Assembly Bill 224 is a measure that would create a statewide solution to a pervasive statewide problem: construction costs for rural schools who do not have the local capacity to fund construction and use a current law in the books as the mechanism. I appreciate the work of this committee and members of this committee who have been committed to this issue and appropriated money in the past. After many months in the interim of trying to figure out a solution, this bill today is not an appropriation ask, but instead asks for a monetary policy change in general obligation bonds. With your permission, Chair, I'll take a few minutes to explain general obligation bonds for the record. Thank you. Okay, general obligation bonds are securities issued by the state of Nevada and local governments that are purchased by institutional buyers and then repaid through certain revenues available to the government body. Bonds help provide long-term financing for priority infrastructure projects like roads, parks, government buildings, affordable housing, and K-12 public schools. Broadly, general obligation bonds are used to fund government projects that will serve the public by creating immediate cash flow liquidity for our state government while also offering a reasonable rate of return to the bondholders. Here in Nevada, our state treasurer issues the General Obligation Debt Capacity and Affordability Report each biennium, which outlines how much our state can issue in general obligation bonds each legislative session. In the most recent Debt Affordability Report published on January 14th, the Treasurer's Office indicated that the state had general obligation bonding affordability for capital programs paid with ad valorem property tax revenue in the following amounts for the 25-27 biennium: $269.72 million to complete the remaining bonding for the previously authorized 2023 capital improvement program, $995 million for the upcoming fiscal years 2026 and 2027 allocations as proposed in the governor's recommended budget, and a minimum of $2.1 billion over the three subsequent biennia. The increase in affordability as compared to the 2023-2025 biennium report was due to the following factors. One, a substantial amount of the state's debt will be paid off over the next several years, 57% of state debt within 5 years and 80% within 10 years. Two, accumulated savings realized from prepaying existing bonds and executing refinancing opportunities. And three, ad valorem property tax revenue is projected to greatly exceed the prior affordability report. And so it's important to note that the Treasurer's Debt Affordability Report published in January of this year did not include funding for supplemental project or program allocations from the legislature's priority list. However, based on many conversations we've had with the Treasurer's Office, we have gotten confirmation that the proposed $100 million in general obligation bonds proposed within AB 224 would fall within the state's affordability as well as the constitutional and statutory debt limits. So I want to thank Assemblyman Gurr for his support on this, as well as thank you, committee, for considering the time I got here today to present this, everyone who has been helping with this, and I have the very helpful Erica Menes here from the Treasurer's Office who can answer any questions.
Thank you so much for the very detailed presentation, and I am going to invite Mr. Jimenez to the table. Good morning. Thank you for being here with us. Just want to make sure that we have some things on the record and that our understanding is correct. So with the school districts that received the grant, and I know we did a lot of work last session helping school districts. But with the school district that received the grant from the Fund to Assist School Districts in financing their capital improvement projects, be responsible for servicing the bond payments or otherwise provide additional funding for construction?
Thank you for the question, Madam Chair, and it's such a pleasure to be with you on a Saturday to talk about school funding, the most important issue pressing our state. Erica Menace, for the record, with the Treasurer's Office. I think it's important to note, like, the process, right? So the Treasurer's Office is constitutionally and statutorily responsible for the issuance of bonds. Those go through the State Board of Finance, which consists of the governor, the state treasurer, the state controller, and a few public members. As kind of contemplated under this bill, if general obligation bonds were issued, the school districts would not have to pay back those bonds. And the statutory language under NRS 387.333 and 3335 states that any funds from that account that are administered by the governor's finance office are given essentially as grants to the school district. Now, I think you didn't ask this question, but I think it's important to put it on the record. There is still the opportunity for local districts with a population of under 15,000 to come to the table with potential resources for those. And I know that the White Pine School District is here, and I know many of our other local school districts are following this. So from a kind of a timeline of events, we would want to understand from the Treasury perspective how much those school districts could commit in their own local capacity, and then we could bond for the difference. So this does not necessarily mean that we would bond for $100 million, but it would give authorization for up to that amount.
Thank you so much. That was my next question, so I appreciate you answering that one as well. And White Pine is here. Good morning. And I know that you have done a lot in your county already to help with building, repairing, and assisting your schools. If you could just share with the committee the work that you've already done and why this bill is important to your school district.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Appreciate that, members of the committee. First of all, Paul Johnson, I'm the CFO for the White Pine County School District. Thank you, Assembly Representative Mosca, for reminding me of the protocol. Just to give you a little bit of context, in 1993, voters approved the replacement of schools, and at that time, the cost of a school was $7.5 million. Unfortunately, those bonds were retired without being issued because the school district at that time couldn't afford to repay them. The revenue that was generated from the property tax level did not pay for the principal and interest for the remainder of the bonds. And there was some financial adversity related to mining closure at the time that made it not possible. From that period of time when we revisited this, the cost of a school was $12 million. The math still didn't work. Then later on it was $30 million. Then it was $50 million. Then it was, last session it was $60 million. And this session is now $100 million. So the difference between our ability to afford school construction and the cost of school construction just gets further and further and further away. Over the course of that period of time, our voters have supported school construction. They did it in 1993 with a 2/3 majority to approve their initial voter approval. They approved a capital levy in the late 90s that because of the reduction of property tax base because of mining closure and increase in operating rates for the county and other local governments, that sunsetted 2 years before because it got squeezed out of the protocol of the combined tax rate. The voters have also approved a rollover initiative allowing the school district to keep its debt rate so that it could fund bonds and also pay for school construction on a pay-as-you-go basis. That was done in 2008. In 1999, we were the recipients of funds through this mechanism, and our county commission elected to levy a 1/8 cent sales tax for the extraordinary repair improvement of school facilities at that time. So it has not been for a lack of will. We have the third highest sales tax rate in the state of Nevada behind Clark and Washoe, and we have been at the tax cap since 1997. So we have not had the legally available means to do this on our own.
Thank you. I've had conversation with the assembly member and lobbyists working on the bill. I'm not sure if every member had the opportunity to have the conversations to understand why we were hearing this bill in the fiscal committee today. So I wanted you to share the work that the residents in White Pine have done to assist their school and why this would be necessary. I'm going to next go to Assembly Member Hadegay. She has a question for you.
Thank you, Chair. And I think you pretty much answered it, so thank you for being here. But I do want to thank the Assembly member for bringing this bill forward and for helping improve education in a district that isn't hers, right? It's on the other side of the state, and yet she or she is making sure that every student in Nevada has the opportunity to succeed. And my question was, I know that in 2016 when I first ran, Washoe County was running a ballot measure to increase their sales tax by 0.54. I think it was, I actually wrote it down. It was originally 7.725 and then 8.26. It increased it to 8.265, and I think they're now the highest sales tax in the state. But they were able to raise close to $800 million to be able to build 9 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, and 3 high schools. And I know because of the population size of Washoe County, that's not something that's possible in other counties. And so I did want to ask, what is your current sales tax rate right now, and what were you guys able to raise? Because your population is so small, when you do increase sales tax, what does that look like for a school district like yours in capacity to build or renovate schools?
Yes, Paul Johnson, CFO for the White Pine County School District, and thank you for the question. One of the problems we have with the smaller areas where you have lower population and tax base, that the per capita revenue that we can generate is not a lot of money. I don't know what the sales tax rate is off the top of my head. I do know that we are right below Clark and Washoe, and we're third on that list. The 1/8 sales tax generates a little over $200,000 a year, and we possibly could issue a bond of maybe $5 million with that revenue. So the amount that we can generate locally is really limited because there's just not the volume there to secure larger amounts of capital.
Thank you for that, and thank you, Madam Chair. And I think I just wanted to get that on the record to show that the tools that are available to some school districts don't make the same impact in other school districts. I mean, if you would pass a similar ballot measure, you don't even raise enough revenue for the construction of one school because of the population size. And so sometimes it is up to the state to be able to step in to fill the gaps when local municipalities, local governments can't. So thank you for being here.
Assembly Member Dickman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just quickly looked up the sales tax rate there, and it's 7.73. So they really don't have anywhere to go. Thank you.
Thank you. For Mr. Jimenez, what would the implication be if the Board of Finance determines that the state's limited bonding authority is insufficient to cover the proposed school construction cost?
Thank you for the question, Madam Chair. Eric Jimenez with the Treasurer's Office. I think, as leadership knows, and we've had some really productive conversations with Assembly leadership over the past few weeks, and Mr. Leiser, who I think studies the debt affordability report more than anyone else, and if I mention it one more time, he's going to lose more of his hairline. But we have had some continuing conversations to make sure that the upcoming debt affordability for the 25 through 2027 biennium is both reflected of some of the governor's priorities, some of the legislative priorities that have come out of the budget closings and the CIP working groups, and especially projects that have kind of game-changing implications for the state that solve systemic issues. So I think we are continuing to look at what that affordability looks like. I imagine we'll be releasing a new affordability report soon. But we fully intend on figuring out a way to encompass this particular project within that. I think as the Treasurer's Office goes through due diligence, both with bond counsel and municipal advisors, and kind of starts that Board of Finance process, if we encounter a rate environment that makes it cost prohibitive to issue bonds, or let's say we had some sort of fiscal emergency that would impact that, we would obviously delay the timing of that issuance. So I think it's important when we think about the authorizations from the legislature for general obligation issuance, it's within the biennium. So we're going to make that issuance call when we can make sure that the taxpayers of the state get the best bang for their buck on this. And then I think as this kind of rate environment is completely irrational sometimes, depending on the market. We're going to try to time that at the time that makes the most sense.
Thank you so much for that. Members, any other questions? Yes, Assembly Member Watts.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to note for the record that Mr. Leiser has an excellent head of hair.
For that. See, no other questions concerning the measure before us. I'll ask you all to step back. Thank you so much for the bill and the presenters, and White Pine, thank you for being here in person to speak to the importance of this piece of legislation. And I'll invite to the table anyone that's here to speak in support of Assembly Bill 224.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In case you didn't recognize me, I moved locations. I'm now in the other chair over here. Since we've driven across the state to talk to you, we thought we'd speak in support of the bill. And I would like to thank you and the committee for this opportunity. You know, White Pine is home to the two oldest schools in the state of Nevada. One was built in 1909 and one was built in 1913. We have objective engineering feasibility studies that have a list of deficiencies that include life, safety, and health, in addition to barriers to the quality of education and ADA accessibility. And unfortunately, we just don't have the ability to do much about that without your help. I've spent the last 28 years of my career on this issue, exploring all legally available means. Excuse me. Wow, I did not expect that to happen. To replace these schools, and it's just mathematically impossible. And speaking of hair, I had dark hair and dark mustache. It may or may not have resembled a mullet. But honestly, I just want to thank you for this opportunity for us to be here in person to convey how important this is for our school community. And appreciate your work on this weekend, and we support AB 224. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for the record, your name is?
My name is still Paul Johnson, and for right now, I am still the CFO for the White Pine County School District.
Thank you so much. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Robert Purdy with Silver State Government Relations, representing the Duck Valley Shopai Indian Tribe. And I think, as Mr. Johnson just so put, these rural schools out here are facing extreme challenges for funding. They do not have the luxury of having the same sort of standards that city schools do. They need help. They really, really do. And so I just wanted to get up here to make sure that we were in support of this measure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Terry Borgoff. I'm a school board trustee for the White Pine County School District. As was testified by a current student during testimony at the March 3rd hearing, White Pine Middle School and David E. Norman are not schools built for everyone. They are fundamentally inadequate for today's educational and accessibility standards. A new consolidated school would offer long-term cost savings through energy efficiency, reduced maintenance, and operational efficiency. It would also reduce the fiscal burden associated with liability risks from non-compliance and safety concerns. We're asking for a solution to a problem that's long overdue. We know it's a big ask, but our students, educators, and taxpayers deserve better than temporary fixes. They deserve a facility that meets today's and tomorrow's challenges. Thank you for your time and careful consideration.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Mary Przinski, here representing Nevada Association of School Superintendents. And the issues that White Pine County brought forward are real, and we have problems in several of our rural school districts as far as the facilities are concerned. But having a building in 1908 and trying to retrofit for all the technology and everything that's expected in our schools these days is extremely difficult. So we hope that you will take this bill seriously and pass it. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Good morning. Brian Reeder speaking on behalf of the Nevada Contractors Association. Just want to thank the bill sponsor, Mr. Jimenez, and all the other stakeholders involved and urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Kyle Davis. Today on behalf of Ampere Energy. Ampere Energy is a global renewable energy development and operating platform, and we develop projects throughout the Intermountain West, mostly solar and wind projects. We're currently developing multiple projects in multiple Nevada rural counties, and as a part of that, it's really important for us to get to know our local communities in which we operate. As you've heard, this is a critical need in many rural counties, and we're very supportive of this bill. We want to thank Assemblymember Mosca for bringing it forward, and happy to help in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Brad Kidding for the record, representing the Clark County School District. We are here in support of this bill. We thank the Assembly member for bringing it forward. You heard powerful testimony from Paul Johnson, and I just want to state for the record that Paul Johnson is one of the most brilliant minds when it comes to school funding and public education in the state of Nevada. We are incredibly fortunate to have him, not only in White Pine, but to lead and work and mentor our CFOs across the state. He has done everything in his power to ensure that every student in this state is given the same tools. So I ask this committee to please help expand his toolbox and allow those students to have the same opportunities that every student has. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Dylan Shaver with Pinion Public Affairs. Awkwardly enough, here on behalf of Kyle Davis and everybody at Pinion, we do a significant amount of our business introducing people to the wonderful communities that are rural Nevada. We would like to extend a thank on behalf of the firm and, of course, many of our clients to Assemblymember Mosca and the folks who put the energy into bringing this bill before you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else approach the table here in Carson City, we'll go down south to Las Vegas. You can go ahead.
Honorable Chair and members of the committee, my name is Amanda Morgan, Executive Director of Educate Nevada Now. On behalf of ENN, I appreciate the opportunity to express our support for AB 224. This bill would be a lifeline for districts throughout the state that are unable to repair or replace unsuitable or even unsafe school facilities. Not due to a lack of need or will, but simply because it's mathematically impossible with their population size and revenue base. Nevada lawmakers have taken great strides in creating a constitutionally equitable school operations funding formula, but unfortunately the same level of attention has not been given to ensuring equitable facilities funding. This has left some communities with dilapidated buildings that are not conducive to learning, buildings that have asbestos issues, lack appropriate technological infrastructure, have insufficient heating and cooling, among a myriad of other issues. This is an urgent matter. Some structures have been independently deemed at risk of catastrophic failure. And although the Nevada Supreme Court has afforded the state great deference in determining the adequacy of school funding, it explicitly left open the question of the state's obligation as it relates to equity. The Nevada Constitution mandates the legislature provide for and maintain a uniform system of common schools, and many other state courts have found similar funding structures that rely heavily on local revenue unconstitutional. Most importantly, appropriate school facilities are linked to higher teacher retention rates and better student outcomes. These students deserve a safe and healthy learning environment, and this bill directly advances that important objective. We sincerely thank Assemblymember Mosca and the bipartisan group of co-sponsors for bringing forth AB 224. And I want to personally thank Paul Johnson for all that he's done on this issue. He is an amazing advocate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gabriel DeCare for the record, speaking in my personal capacity, I'd just like to say ditto to everything that other folks have said. White Pine County has been so vocal about this issue for years, and I'm very grateful to Assemblymember Mosca and the other sponsors for bringing this bill forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else at the table in Las Vegas, we'll go to the phone lines. Broadcast, do we have anyone joining us by phone that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 224?
To provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 224, please press *9 now to join the queue.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Tom Clark. I'm calling in on behalf of the Nevada Association of School Boards. And as you know, Madam Chair, the rural school funding is a priority for our association. And all of the counties are rallying behind White Pine simply because They have faced the greatest barrier from a financial perspective, but as many of the committee members know, having toured the facilities and the schools out in White Pine, they have the greatest need. And so the Nevada Association of School Boards, very, very much in support of AB 224. Can't thank Assemblymember Mosca and the other co-sponsors for bringing this bill forward. Very much appreciate it. And we can't say enough about Mr. Johnson either. Brad Keating kind of nailed it. So thank you, Madam Chair. We're very much in support.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning. My name is Mallory Fear. I am a resident of Clark, a parent who participates in the facilities master plan meetings down here in Clark County School District. As a parent who has a child that is attending a school on the need to renovate list, I feel this pain, but I feel this pain with actual resources that can support the efforts. And so I believe this is a very good bill. I believe this is exactly why we ask you all to go out to Carson City every 2 years, is to find solutions for problems we can't take care of on our own. And it's evident they've made every effort to do so. So as a resident of Clark County, I fully support this and appreciate the efforts of Assemblymember Mosca and Gurr. Bye.
Thank you. Next caller.
Chair, we have no additional callers in support.
Thank you so much, and we'll move to opposition. If there's anyone here in Carson City or in Las Vegas that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 224, I invite you to the tables. And not seeing anyone approach either table, I will go to the phone line. Do we have anyone joining us by phone that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 224?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 224, please press star 9 to join the queue. Chair, it appears we have no callers for opposition.
Thank you so much. Then we will move to neutral. If there's anyone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 224, I invite you to the tables in Carson City and Las Vegas. And not seeing anyone approach either table, we'll go one last time to the phone line to see if we have anyone on the phone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 224.
To provide testimony in neutral for Assembly Bill 224, please press star 9 to join the queue. Chair, we have no callers for neutral testimony.
Thank you so much. We'll ask the bill sponsor if she has any closing remarks.
Thank you, Chair, for the time. I have 3 brief items in closing. I want to thank again, it is a bipartisan measure of co-sponsors, so I thank them. I would remind the committee this policy is not an appropriation. It actually solves any future asks as well for any rural school districts in the situation the way that is set up. So thank you for considering. And I also want to really thank this body for caring about all Nevadans and all Nevada students, no matter where they happen to live or their political party of where they live. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 224.